Hey guys, Ben Labadie here, and we were just at a little bit of a Maxime Bernier rally here at the Wish Center in Chatham, and this is John Balagtas. Am I saying that right? Balagtas?
Yeah, John Balagtas, yeah.
Okay, do people mess up that name a lot?
Definitely. You know, there's a lot of alternative that people tend to say when they mention that name, but...
Okay, so John is the candidate for Chatham-Kent Leamington in this new PPC party called the People's Party of Canada. So John, thank you for taking the time. So yeah, we just got done listening to Maxime. He's been here in Chatham-Kent. He's going over to Wallaceburg right now.
Yes.
And then to Sarnia. So he's traveling all over the place.
It's a busy day today.
We're going to talk a little bit about Maxime a little bit, but the whole idea is for you guys to get to know John, because I'm going to take a wild guess here that not many people know who John is. Hey, Michael Bondi, how you doing? Michael Bondi's a counselor here in Chatham. So, John, tell us about yourself, and are you from Chatham originally, or Chatham-Kent?
No, I'm originally from Mississauga. I moved around. One time I was in Windsor, I was living there. Then I moved back to Pickering. I moved around pretty much depending on where the jobs are and where my mom works, definitely.
Okay. And what do you do for work right now?
At the moment, I work as an employment specialist, trying to help out people with barriers to help them get employment.
Okay. Hey Sue, hey Jonathan, how you guys doing? So what got you into politics? Have you always been in politics?
I've never been in politics. I did try at one time to try to run for school trustee here in Chatham.
Okay.
But I didn't pan out the way I wanted to be. And the reason why I got into politics is I came from Toronto, that area, you know, Mississauga, Brampton, that area, and I noticed a big difference from that area to southwestern Ontario. I'm seeing like there's lack of infrastructure here, lack of services. There's a big problem with the opioid crisis that has actually been very evident in pretty much the cities of southwestern Ontario. Unemployment is pretty much rampant here. Affordability is a big issue here as well. Flooding, lots of issues that I guess no one has managed to tackle it. Or to try to provide some solution to it. I think people just want to, oh, it happened, let's you know,
sweep it under the rug,
right? And then, you know, the weather's done, sun is out, let's move on, right? Yeah. That's the thing there.
And what got you involved with the PPC, the People's Party of Canada?
What got me involved with the PPC Party of Canada is definitely the preservation of Canadian values, the preservation of the Canadian way of life, the preservation of free speech. That's what attracted me to the People's Party. Yeah. The other political party, they tend to try to be extremely politically correct, to try to win votes, right? But the problem with that is we have to talk about issues that can be dangerous to Canada if we don't tackle them head on, right? For example, immigration is a big thing. We want to make, we're not anti-immigrant. There's a big media out there trying to portray us as anti-immigrant. We're not anti-immigrant. We want to make sure that people that comes to Canada share the same value as we do, that they want to integrate into our society, rather than create a separate society within a society. And bear in mind, we see the effect of that in other countries, right? You go to the Middle East, where a different society exists with a different society, and that doesn't go very well.
Now, this is an interesting question. You know, everybody labels you guys the anti-immigrant.
Yes.
And even going as far as to say being anti-immigrant is being racist.
Yeah.
Are you born in Canada?
No.
So you are an immigrant?
I'm an immigrant.
Okay.
Most of my family members are immigrants, right? From way I can remember. That's the thing. They try to label us an anti-immigrant. Again, there's a difference between being an anti-immigrant and being careful to who you let into your country. Those are totally different. We're doing it for the safety of Canada, right? We're not doing it because some sort of racist reason for that. I think that's more of like a media kind of turn on there.
Right. Do you get confused when the party gets called racist and anti-immigrant, being an immigrant, being part of the party?
Definitely. Like I attended the Hamilton event with Ruben and Maxime on Sunday, and there was a big protest in front of the entrance going to the building, and they're pretty much labeling the PPC and try to relate it to Nazism. I mean, if you read up our platform, nowhere in that platform can you read or see anything even close to what the Nazi platform was when they were trying to run for political office in Germany, right? So I mean, Rubin itself, from what I was sitting down, is Jewish, right? So it's hard to try to connect being a Nazi and racist, or I think some people are even trying to call us like white supremacists and something like that, because even Salim, Professor Salim, is not well, Caucasian, and it's not white supremacist nor Nazi, right? So
okay, Sue had a question there about a national housing strategy. You got with the rising cost of homes, the rising cost of rent to local, especially locally. You probably know this. Knocking on doors and talking to people. Does the PPC have a national housing strategy or any strategy to make homes and living accommodations more affordable for everyday Canadians?
The strategy with that, we got to bear in mind the reason why all of this are, the cost of this are going up, housing, standard of living, all of that, is the current government at the moment are squandering pretty much your money everywhere outside. They're pretty much bleeding the system. Right? And that causes a lot of problem with regards to affordable housing, with regards to benefits for the veterans, stuff like that. When it comes to those things, the government at the moment kept on telling you there's no money, coffers empty. But then again, when they're trying to say they have a legal issue with people who've been deemed to be terrorists, they have no problem paying those people money, right? And that's been in the media, I think, in the past year or so, right? So what the strategy has to be is that we got to make sure our economy is strong. A strong economy will make us money, and that money can therefore be allocated to social services such as building more affordable housing, putting more social services for people in Southwestern Ontario, rather than spending it outside of Canada. Oh, we got to spend, so-and-so million of dollars to try to solve the problem somewhere there, right? When we could have used that money to pretty much use it here and try to build what we need to build for Canadians.
And back to the housing, and when you tie that in with immigration, I'm a real estate agent, and so the more people that come to the country, the better it is for all real estate agents, right? Because, well, prices will have to go up as more people try to fit into the housing crisis that we now have. Do you think that plays a part, like with the housing and everything, with more people coming into the Canada?
With regards to that, there was an issue with that, not here in Toronto. It's more of an issue that I've come across in BC, where I think there was lots of foreign people investing money in the real estate, and what that did is pretty much raise the cost of housing pretty much for every local people in BC. And I won't be surprised if the same problem is apparent here in Ontario, right?
Okay, so how do you get the word out? Like the hardest part for you guys right now is nobody knows the PPC. NDP and Liberals and Conservatives been there forever. Okay,
they don't have to do a lot of work. That's the thing, right?
So they already got the name recognition. So where do you see the future of the PPC? Like you guys have had a head start, obviously, with Maxime, because I think he lost on the 13th ballot of the Conservative Party. So he won 12 ballots. All right, that means a lot of people on the Conservative side vote for him and like him. And as you can see, you guys can't see it, but there was a crowd here today supporting Maxime, and a lot of Conservative people that have kind of switched over. Now, were you a Conservative, Liberal? What were you before? You had to be a member of something, or liked something, or leaned towards something. Which party was it?
I was leaning more toward the conservative value. And that's another reason why I signed up for the PPC, because the conservative value has been compromised, right? As I was saying in my speech earlier, the conservative have become what I call watered down liberals, right? It's pretty much they're taking what the liberal is saying, put a little bit of tweak into it to make it sound more conservative. But in reality, if you try to shake it a little bit, you see the basic structure is the structure of the liberal trying to harm people, right? What were we saying again?
We were saying a lot of stuff. What's your strategy? Are you knocking on doors? How do you get the word out? How do you get the word out as basically a startup from nothing? And especially being kind of new to Chatham-Kent Leamington.
kind of new to Chatham-Kent Leamington, kind of new to politics, kind of pretty much the underdog of everything, right? I mean, interview like this will definitely help a great deal, right? I mean, your
How's he doing, guys?
audience,
Let us know.
you reach out people out there, so the words and the message of what the PPC is all about. Me personally, what I am all about as the candidate for the MP for our riding, reaching people out there, knocking door to door. I've been doing that. Bear in mind, our riding is quite large, right? I just found that out recently when I'm driving around. I've been driving all the way from Stony Point, all to Moravia town, to try to cover as much, county, city as much as I can, to try to put words out there that you have a choice, you have an alternative choice, which is the PPC.
But you're doing it with less traffic than you would in Mississauga, Toronto area.
Definitely. In here, you can cruise and enjoy the scenery, right? But in Toronto, it's pretty much sitting there waiting for the traffic light to go green, but still, traffic prevents you from moving forward, right?
So now that Maxime's kind of gone from conservative to starting his own party, what do you have for a message to the people who are conservative to come over to your party, who are voting conservative in this Chatham-Kent Leamington area? Like, you got a message directly for them, because that's where most of the voters are probably going to be coming from for your party.
Definitely. As you mentioned earlier, Southwestern Ontario is very conservative, right? My message for them is, don't rely on just voting for conservative because you've been voting conservative for so long, or because your father and their father, your mother or their mother have been voting conservative, and you just follow on along with line. I would urge conservative to read the platform, the PPC platform, the Liberal platform, all the candidates' platform. Compare them and make your decision based on that, and you will see that the platform we have makes common sense. And you will notice that the platform we have is the true conservative values that the conservative has somehow watered down just to win some votes.
Now, how do people get involved to help out the campaign? Because, I mean, obviously you probably don't have a big campaign, you don't have probably a bunch of volunteers, but how would people get involved in helping you get some votes out there and getting support and getting the name out and getting the party out?
The biggest thing is we're a grassroots party. That's pretty much how it was advertised from the very beginning, right? So we rely on word of mouth, right? Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody, your co-workers, stuff like that. Hey, you don't have
to hit the share button on this.
Yeah, share the button on that and spread the words. That's one thing. Another thing is, like, if we need volunteers in BA, because again, our riding is big, right? We need volunteers to be able to share the message, spread out the words and stuff like that. And you can do that on our website, the Chatham-Kent Leamington PPC website. Because bear in mind, there's two websites. One is the headquarters, which is the PPC, and there's a different website for each riding for the PPC. So just make sure that you go on our riding, click volunteer, and if you want to do some financial donation, that will help a great deal also, and you can do that online as well.
Okay, so I hadn't talked to John before about inviting him to my debate night, October 10th at the 10-7 Cafe. So will you be there?
What time will it be?
It'll be at 6 p.m. I know you guys got a debate at 10 a.m. to 12. So it would be nice to have you there and debating all the big issues. What's your biggest issue, Chatham-Kent Leamington?
There is no one big issue. The way I see it is, there's a lot of big issues here in Chatham-Kent Leamington, right? Affordability, big one of that. Lack of infrastructure, flooding problem in the Thames River, all of those things, even though some of those could be provincial. My take on that is I have to work with the provincial government to try to tackle those problems that they have neglected for a long time, right? I mean, I don't have to tell it to you. You just have to drive around Chatham-Kent Leamington to see that progress here is slow to come, right? I mean, services here is not as numerous and abundant as, let's say, in Toronto or in London and stuff like that. We face the same problem here with regards to child poverty, affordability, opioid crisis, unemployment. So we deserve those services as much as the other section of Ontario, right? And I will definitely be a voice If they're not going to listen to me, I cannot keep on nudging them until they say, you're annoying me.
Yeah.
Here you go, right?
So you've mentioned the opioid crisis a couple times now.
Yes.
Do you guys have a strategy to tackle that?
My firm belief in that is that the opioid crisis is a product of high unemployment rate in southwestern Ontario. When people have no jobs, they look elsewhere, right? And that's one of the reasons why that happened. Overprescriptions, painkillers. That's another source of why that tends to be the problem, right? Again, it's one of those things that we have to work with the provincial government because they have mandate here, right? To make certain that they have the tools and the funding to be able to provide programs and infrastructure to be able to deal with that problem, because we can't let it go on, right? I mean, it's really making a big impact in our society here in southwestern Ontario.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about jobs. Now, the economy, we hear every day, the economy is great, the economy is great, the economy is great. But it's not great for everybody. Now, I've asked everybody the same question.
Yeah.
Chatham-Kent Leamington, we don't have those crazy high-paying manufacturing jobs that really allow people to go out and buy houses, buy cars, and live a really, really good life.
Yeah.
What can we do, or what do you guys have a plan to kind of bring back manufacturing? Now, we look to the south, where it said, well, manufacturing's never coming back. It's going back there. Yeah. The states are seeing tremendous job growth. They're seeing manufacturers building again. Apple is now, creating the
i11 Pro. I think it's 11 Pro.
So when you see stuff like that, people didn't think that was possible. Is it possible here, and can it happen?
Of course it's possible. I mean, you got to be optimistic. You got to be optimistic that Chatham-Kent has that possibility to be great. As I always say from the very beginning when I enter the campaign, if Toronto can be great, Chatham-Kent can be greater. The thing with that is that we just have to work together. We have to work together with our allies to the south. As Maxime has mentioned this morning with regards to, we have to work with the United States because the United States is our biggest trading partner, right? So if we can incentivize them to come back, with maybe some incentives to build business here, why not, right? I mean, Chatham-Kent Leamington is a big land mass. There's huge. A lot of land here for them to build factories or whatever they need to build to bring back jobs for the people here. And I believe that that can be done, which is a way that we have to be diplomatic about it with our neighbor to the south.
Awesome. Now, speaking about the campaign and stuff like that, having Maxime Bernier come to Chatham-Kent, he's going to Wellsburg, going to Sarnia after. How does that feel to be a candidate, especially in a startup, when the other candidates here haven't had their leaders come to the area?
It's pretty great, right? I mean,
and you did have a good crowd here. That was
yes,
a good crowd.
It was a good crowd. Definitely, I'm thankful for everybody that came here today. In support of the PPC, in support of Max Bernier, and definitely in support of me as their candidate for the MP. I'm very elated to see Maxime to be here, to show up, and I mean, Chatham-Kent Leamington. That only shows how much a leader really cares about every sector of our country, that he's actually willing to take up time to actually come here and tour the place, whereas the other leaders are very concentrated on the big city. Yeah,
right? And he did take some time. He was here about an hour and a half, and then stayed for further questions and pictures with all the people that wanted to do selfies and stuff with him. Definitely. So he did spend some serious time.
Yeah, and he answered a lot of questions too, and put a lot of people's mind at ease with the answer that he gave them.
Yeah, well, a lot of people here, they seemed like they were big supporters, and some coming from the conservative side. Aside from the conservatives, do you have a message for the Liberal and the NDP people to come over to the PPC party?
Yeah. With regards to the Liberal voters or people who would like to vote Liberals, right? Again, it's the same message. Don't go along with the idea that because you've been voting Liberal for a long time that you have to vote them just to stay true. You gotta stay true to yourself. You read the platform, see which one makes sense, see which one catches your heart, which one catches your attention, and vote for that. Don't try to, I guess the saying is, vote blindly.
Okay.
Right? Read up on the platform, listen to the debate that's going to be happening with the party leaders. This coming up a couple of weeks, I think, is going to be happening. Listen to what they have to say, then make your decision, right? You owe it to yourself to vote with common sense. You owe it not only to yourself, but to the children of your children. Because bear in mind, on October 21st, you're going to decide how, for the next 4 years, how our country is going to be, right? And believe me, you've been under the conservative previous to Trudeau. You've been under Trudeau up to this moment, and who knows what's going to happen on election day. And you know what they have to offer. You know what they can do. You know the lies that they have told. Now, PPC, we are offering you something new. We are offering you something that makes sense, common sense. You have nothing to lose by trying PPC.
Yeah. What do you say to the people that feel voting for the PPC is just a vote split to get Trudeau in? Now, that's an argument that you see a small amount of people making, but they still make that, and they do it on the other side too. You know, voting for NDP is, voting for Andrew Scheer. So what do you say, because this is a startup, and you do need energy long term, and every vote does count, but, you know, for example, say a vote for the PPC, even if in the event they don't win, is still support long term. That means everybody has to look at that amount of people voting for something different than they normally would, meaning that some change is needed in all parties. So what do you say to that? There was a lot there that I just hit you with.
Yeah, that was more of like the fear of the conservative. I think it's their paranoia that, you know what, because their votes are being taken away from them, that their chances of winning the election is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's a paranoia. My take on that is, you vote, and that's your right to vote. You know, I mean, if you vote PPC because you believe in the platform, not because you're trying to split whatever you're trying to say, right? So vote with your heart is pretty much it. You have that right. You live in a democracy. You have the right to choose, right?
So a lot of people, when it comes to that mindset, they're not necessarily voting for what they believe and want. They're voting against something.
Yes. That
they're scared of. So go with your heart versus going.
And that also, bear in mind also, like for example, let's say, you know, after October 21st, and you know, it turned out to be that lots of conservative and liberal voted PPC. That says a lot about the current state of our country, or the political system of our country, that people are dissatisfied. People no longer believe in the system. They want change. They want something new. So by voting against the liberal, by voting against the conservative and the NDP, they're sending a message to the political in Ottawa. Your lies no longer have an impact or an effect on us. Right?
Perfect. Okay, guys, hey, if you make sure to get out and vote October 21st, I always ask everybody the same question. Why is it important for everybody to get out and vote, number one, even if it's for somebody else, and why should they be voting for you?
The first question that you ask, my answer to that is, being able to vote, right? It's a gift. We're fortunate we live in a country ruled by parliamentary democracy, and you have that freedom to do so, and do so because in other countries, let's say China, North Korea, some countries in the Middle East, you don't have that right. No. Even though people would like to do it, but if they do it, they will be silenced, right? But here, you have that right to do so and use it. Because remember, every vote counts. That vote will determine how this country will be for the next 4 years after October 21st, right? And secondly, why they should vote for me, right? I'm not a career politician, and I don't pretend to be a career politician. You know, I came into politics to try to provide service to the people for the sake of just serving the people, right? We don't know what the future might hold. I might just be a one-term MP, or maybe I might be a two-term MP, but I will do my best that I can to try to serve the people with honesty and loyalty and, you know, transparency as what politician used to be, right? And I think those qualities has become very lacking in politics nowadays. Most politicians pretty much, I want the position, I want the prestige, I want the benefit that goes along with that. So what happened to the promises? Nothing. it disappears.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, guys. Well, you've got to get to know John Balagtas and the PPC party. And if you guys didn't get a chance to watch it earlier, I did cover the Maxime Bernier event here live, so you can go back and watch that and see that. And if you have questions for John, I'll hook him up to my Facebook so that if you do comment with any questions, he can probably answer them, or you can get a hold of him. I'll get some information out there on how to get in contact with him, and hopefully we'll see you at the debate. And good luck to the campaign on the startup.
No,
so
it's
thank
a
you for
pleasure.
having
It's
me.
an honor to actually invite me for this interview. Definitely.
Yeah, well, it helps everybody by getting to know more. So, hey guys, thank you for watching. Hit that share button, hit the like, comment, do whatever. Have a great day.
Take care.